the beginning of this, during the suspension of Tuesday's auction, the management indicated that as well the auction slated for next Tuesday, sale 17, that is on the 20th of March, is also suspended, and we resume auctions on the 27th. Now, we are not sure how they reached that decision as well. And my earlier statement here is that the traders and the producers are ready to continue with the auction. The repercussions of a suspended auction system, where you expect to have about $8 million from sale of 25,000 bags, is a lot of money. Any delay is a loss to the growers, about 640 million shillings. And also 640 million shillings per sale. Per sale. So there is loss to the grower and there is loss to government in revenue. So the matter needs to be addressed urgently. It was important that that issue be addressed, because if you have about 50 dealers who are inactive, who are getting 3.6 million shillings worth of sample material yearly, that means they are taking away about 180 million shillings for free. Now, obviously, some of these are business people, and good business people are that. And so they have registered even more than one dealership. So they are picking samples or collecting free samples with 2 or 3 companies. So if you consider that one is making 3.6, then you can do the math and see what some of them would be making. And what we felt is, if this situation is not addressed, we may have 200 companies or 300 registered dealerships. Now, what sample material would we require from each of these farmers and each of these lots for us to satisfy that kind of demand for sample material? And therefore the decision that we have to have a threshold as to who qualifies to collect samples. Having the matter addressed appropriately is come up with stringent rules that will manage what each of these dealers is able to get as sample material on a weekly basis. What is actually the sample fee? What kind of a level of deposit for samples we need to have? What happens to a dealer who does not, example, buy coffee within the first 6 months? Do they forfeit that deposit, so that they don't also continue? Because even if you use the current setup, where you have a deposit of 250,000 shillings as deposit, and you end up with business or coffee worth 3.6 million shillings, obviously for a businessman, it would mean that you're ready to forfeit 250,000 and make in excess of 3 million shillings anyway. As a place of selling coffee, yes, the exchange has worked very well to the benefit of the growers. Only that now we find that that is actually being eroded by the issues we've just discussed. Because there are scenarios we could do as a country with better press, we could do with better public relations out there, because there is a lot of negativity on Kenyan coffee of late, thefts and so on and so forth. So we could do with a better image. And the way to rein in on this image is to make sure that the rules that we have set are actually being obeyed to the letter. So it's not that the rules sometimes do not exist. If they were actually enforced, some of these things we are discussing that have led to this may not actually be happening, because people must play by the book, because licenses are issued every year to these players. So what vetting process happens? We just need to improve the processes under which even things like licensing are done, because we must interrogate. It is happening. It is happening in other commodities. It happens in the stock exchange right now. Those kind of parameters the checks and balances must be met in order to bring sanity, so that only the people who are playing within the rules are actually allowed to participate in these trades, and therefore that brings sanity.